Hey guys, how you going? This is BillyEatWorld, and today we're going to take a look at the hard-hitting sidearms in BF4. This includes the Revolvers and the Deagle, which are some of the more popular sidearms in the game, especially with experienced players. The reason I thought I'd take a look at this topic is because at the moment there's actually a community mission on Battlelog giving us the challenge of getting 1 million kills with the 44 Magnum. As you can see in this gameplay, I figured this was a good excuse to run Magnum only for a few days, which to be honest is something I've never really tried before. I'm actually not really a big fan of these guns in BF4, but in BF3 I did like the Rex, which honestly could dominate in close quarters as long as you had decent aim. At long range it was also still pretty effective, and although it didn't really stand a chance against automatic weapons, it hit a lot harder than the semi-auto pistols. In BF4 there's a lot more revolvers to choose from, but none really compare to the BF3 Rex because they all fire slower now and they're also a lot less accurate. They still all have a pretty decent time to kill though compared to all of the other secondaries, but as a trade-off they're pretty hard to use, which makes them inconsistent. Now, bearing all of this in mind, how good are these guns in BF4 and why would you want to pick one over something like the 93R? Well, taking a look at the stats, you can see they all deal 56 damage out to 15 meters, which drops off to 37.5 for the Magnum and 28 for all of the others. This damage model basically means that all of these guns have a guaranteed one-hit kill to the head at close range, and at least a 4-shot kill at longer ranges. This makes them stupidly powerful if you can manage to hit the target, but the problem is they all have some pretty big disadvantages in other areas. All of the revolvers have a very low capacity of 6 rounds, and compared to all of the other weapons in the category, they all also have very slow reload speeds. Even the Deagle has only a 9-round capacity, but that being said, it's also got a faster reload time, which makes it a lot more consistent when you're up against multiple enemies. The other issue with these guns is, like I said before, the fact that they just aren't that accurate, which is a problem because you can't afford to waste ammo. They also aren't that impressive when it comes to muzzle velocity, which once again will lead to wasted ammo by making it harder to hit moving targets. Now, some of these stats might put you off using these guns, so the question is, are they worth dealing with for that faster time to kill? Well, they do give you a viable chance against primary weapons, so on one hand the answer is yes, but only if you're accurate enough to make them work. One thing that will help when you're running these guns though is to play defensively like you would, say, if you were using a bolt action. If you can avoid attracting the attention of players that you probably can't kill, then you'll stay alive a lot longer and hopefully find yourself in a situation to put those precious rounds to good use. Another thing I learnt when I was using the Magnum is that these guns definitely aren't DMRs, and pinging away at long range targets really doesn't work that well. That being said, you can take out stationary targets like snipers pretty easily as long as they're stupid enough to stand in the same spot. At close to mid-range though, well, it's obvious that these guns pack a decent punch, but I don't think I'd really rely on them like I do with the 93R. They can be pretty useful for a quick follow-up shot when you're sniping or for finishing off a damaged enemy, but in most gunfights rate of fire is going to be much more important. But anyway, to finish up, I think if I had to make a judgment as to which one of these guns is the best, then I think hands down it's the Deagle. It's not as good as it used to be, but the fact that it's got more rounds to spare and a decent rate of fire makes it still easily the best choice. On the other hand, the Magnum is probably the best when it comes to long range, and I can see it being pretty good with a fast-firing automatic weapon. I mean, for example, if you're running with an LMG, you're really not going to need to switch to a sidearm that often anyway, and a gun like the Magnum lets you stretch out just that little bit further. As far as the other kits go though, well, the Engineer has fairly close range weapons, so it kind of makes sense to run revolvers with this kit if you need the extra range. Engineer weapons are also generally pretty good suppressed, which makes up for the fact that you can't use a suppressor on any of the revolvers. For assault and recon players though, I don't think these guns really pair up with the primaries that well, which I guess is why I probably haven't used these guns that often. Recon players don't really need the extra range, and assault players need to reload more often in close quarters, which are both really good reasons to run an automatic pistol. But anyway guys, that just about wraps up this video, so let me know what you think of these guns in the comment section below, and as always, if you like what you see, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Also, check out the links in the description below if you want to see more of my videos, or if you'd like to support my channel on Patreon, and until next time, see you later, and have a good one.